Okay, this is the second lesson of English for this week. If you are ready to start, can you just make sure that you have your plan from yesterday with you, as you will need that for today. Okay, so on the board, I've written some sentences and I want you to just have a little look at what you notice about the tense of these sentences. I'll read them out to you so you can have a little think about it. Leon watched a magic show with his friends. He climbed into a box. The magician performed his magic tricks. Okay, so if you haven't already guessed, they are all written in past tense, which is important because as we continue telling the story today, it's important that we continue in past tense. And we know that they are past tense because they are using the ed ending there. So make sure, because some of us are a bit dodgy with our tenses, that we remember that today as we are going forward. Okay, so you should have your plans in front of you. And I want us to have a little look at the first section of our plan, because we have just left Leon where he has climbed into the box. So we need to start from the point where he has fallen in your writing today. So what do you think your first paragraph is going to be about? Like I've just said, it's about going to be where he's fallen. What might you see? The stars and galaxy, or the birds, the hands that might try and grab him and feel. And I'm sure you've come up with some much better ideas what feelings he might have, feeling anxious. Remember that we talk all the time about show, don't tell. Don't tell me he feels anxious. Don't tell me he feels scared. But how could you describe that? You know, his palms were sweaty. He felt butterflies in his stomach. They're the types of things that we would use to describe how he'd feel. Okay, so what I've done today, and I'll continue to do tomorrow as well, is I've given you an example of how we can start this writing. Okay, we're going to have a little look at what I've done. And like I've said last week, you can use some ideas, use some of my vocabulary, but please make it yours, because I know that you can come up with much better ideas than what I've come up with. Okay, so just make this. Okay. The darkness engulfed Leon as he fell further and further. Okay, I've chosen to use the word rather than just say the darkness, it was dark. When we talk about something engulfing someone, it means like it's completely surrounded them. And it's, from looking at the image that we looked at yesterday, you know that it was almost like he dropped into like an abyss. There was an open space. It was very big, yet he couldn't see much around him. So we know that there was a darkness, and the engulfed means it's almost surrounded him, it took over him as he fell further and further. And I've chosen to say further and further rather than just saying he fell down. So it almost emphasizes the fact that he was falling for a long time, further and further. He could feel the wind whooshing past his ears as he spiraled into the darkness, and his legs felt as heavy as lead weights, pulling him further down. So we've got an example there as, you know, that his legs were heavy because they were being pulled, and that implies that, you know, that he was falling quite a far way, and he was going towards wherever he was going, the ground or whatever he was going to fall towards, and that it felt really heavy, pulling him down. As Leon was tumbling recklessly, okay, so that implies that he wasn't graceful. Okay, he was falling from some height, and we know that gravity would pull him down anyway, so he wouldn't have any control over how he was falling. But he didn't just fall straight, he was tumbling, and recklessly implies that it wasn't a swift, nice fall. He was all over the place through, oh, I've got a mistake there, through the dark night sky. I'm going to just, through the dark night sky. That's why it's really important, isn't it? Year 3 and 4, to make sure that you are checking your work through the dark night sky. I got carried away with my writing. So as Leon was tumbling recklessly through the dark night sky, he noticed what seemed to be white doves gliding elegantly past. And what I've tried to do here is change the dynamic. So he's tumbling recklessly, quite clumsily, but yet we're looking at the fact that we've got these doves that are gliding elegantly past. It's almost like it's a complete difference in the dynamic of the sentence. And those of you that are keen to put fronted adverbials in your sentence, you will know that I've got, as Leon was tumbling recklessly through the dark night sky, comma, he noticed what seemed to be white doves. And we know that he noticed what seemed to be white doves. And when did that happen? As he was tumbling recklessly. So we've got a fronted adverbial in there. I would love to see year 4s putting some fronted adverbials in their writing, because that is one of your things, one of your targets. year threes, I would love to see some examples of show, don't tell. And for everybody, I would love it if we could make sure that as we start our writing today, we are making sure we've got capital letters and full stops in the right place. Our handwriting is as good as it is in class, because some of us are not thinking about our handwriting as much whilst being at home, but it is really, really important, because we know that you're more than capable, and some really great adjectives and adverbs in there as well. I've also attached the adverb and adjective sheet that you used last week. If you haven't got it, or you need to have a little look at it again, you can use that. What I would suggest is, for today, just do a really good chunky paragraph for this first bit, and then we will move on tomorrow. And like I said, you should be doing about 6 or 7 lines at least per paragraph. This paragraph is all about in full, and I don't want you to tell me what you fell onto yet. You will have plenty of time to go on to that tomorrow. Okay, happy writing, and I'll see you next lesson.